Stop for just a moment, because what you are about to hear may change the way you think about your 70s. Most people speak about this decade as if it is only a season of decline, a long hallway of doctor visits, smaller plans, quieter rooms, and memories that grow louder than the present. But I discovered something that surprised me. My 70s did not become the best years of my life because everything became easy. They became the best years because I finally stopped living carelessly with the small things. I stopped waiting for one grand miracle, one perfect relationship, one sudden burst of youth, or one dramatic change to rescue me from the heaviness I carried. Instead, I began practicing 10 small habits that slowly changed the atmosphere of my days. At first, they looked too simple to matter. A slower morning. A cleaner table. A walk before worry. A phone that did not control me. A kind sentence spoken to myself. These things seemed ordinary, almost too ordinary. But age teaches that ordinary things are where life hides. When you are young, you may chase big victories because you believe happiness must arrive loudly. After 70, you begin to understand that peace rarely enters through the front door with applause. It enters quietly, through repeated choices that protect the mind, soften the heart, and return dignity to the hours you still have. The first habit was rising slowly and refusing to let the day attack me. For most of my life, I woke as if I owed the world immediate service. I would sit up quickly, reach for the phone, think about bills, family problems, appointments, and everything that might go wrong before I had even thanked life for another morning. My body was awake, but my mind was already under command. Then one morning I decided that the first few minutes of the day would belong to peace. I sat on the edge of the bed, placed my feet on the floor, breathed, and waited until the room felt steady. This became more than a safety habit. It became a spiritual declaration. I was telling myself, I am not a servant of panic anymore. I do not have to rush into worry to prove I am responsible. The world can wait while I arrive inside my own body. That small pause changed the tone of everything. A day that begins with respect is different from a day that begins with fear. I learned that moving slowly is not surrender. It is wisdom teaching the body and mind to walk together. The second habit was drinking water before I drank opinions. That may sound strange, but for years I fed my mind before I cared for my body. I would wake and immediately reach for the phone, the news, messages, family complaints, or old thoughts that had been waiting for me from yesterday. My mind was full before my body was even nourished. So I made a small rule. Water first. Quiet first. Life first. Before the world could pour noise into me, I would give my body something simple and clean. A glass of water became a reminder that I was still responsible for my own care. It did not make me young again. It did not erase pain. But it taught me not to begin the morning as if I were an afterthought. Many older people forget themselves because they spent decades remembering everyone else. They remember children, spouses, employers, neighbors, church, relatives, and bills. But they forget the person carrying all that memory. This small habit whispered, "You also matter." And sometimes, after 70, that whisper is enough to begin healing something deep. The third habit was walking before worrying. I used to sit with my thoughts until they became heavier than my body. I would think about what my children had not done, who had not called, what my body could no longer do, what mistake I had made years ago, what might happen if my health changed, what would become of my home, my money, my independence. Worry pretended to be preparation, but it rarely prepared me for anything. It only stole strength before the day had begun. So I began walking, even if only for 10 minutes. Some days it was outside. Some days it was through the house. Some days it was slow, careful, and unimpressive. But I walked before I surrendered to worry. Movement gave my thoughts somewhere to go. The body, when treated gently, can help carry burdens the mind cannot solve alone. On those walks, I noticed trees, clouds, neighbors, birds, and the sound of my own breathing. The world had not become perfect, but it was still here. And because it was still here, I could be here too. The fourth habit was making my bed as if order still mattered. Some people laugh at this, but they do not understand what disorder can do to an aging spirit. When life becomes quieter, small messes can become symbols. A chair full of clothes can whisper neglect. A cluttered table can whisper defeat. An unmade bed can whisper, "What does it matter now?" I did not want those whispers shaping my home. So I began making my bed each morning, not for visitors, not for pride, but for my own mind. It was a small act of command over the little kingdom still in my hands. I could not control aging. I could not control other people. I could not bring back the past. But I could straighten a blanket. I could open a curtain. I could create one corner of order. Stoic wisdom does not despise small duties. It understands that character is practiced in small visible acts. Each morning, my made bed told me that the day had not defeated me before it began. The fifth habit was eating without rushing and without treating myself like a burden. This may sound simple, but I had spent years eating whatever was convenient. Toast over the sink. Tea gone cold. Leftovers eaten without attention. Meals skipped because cooking for one felt pointless. Somewhere along the way, I began acting as if nourishment only mattered when others were at the table. But after 70, I realized that the way I fed myself revealed how I valued my own life. So I began preparing small, decent meals. Nothing grand. A clean plate. A simple breakfast. Soup made with care. Fruit washed and placed in a bowl. I sat down. I tasted. I stopped eating like someone waiting for life to end. This habit restored dignity to ordinary hunger. It reminded me that caring for myself was not selfish simply because no one was watching. A life does not need an audience to deserve tenderness. The sixth habit was answering the phone later instead of instantly. This may have changed my peace more than I expected. For years, every ring controlled me. My children, relatives, friends, neighbors, anyone could enter my day through that small sound. Sometimes the call brought love. Often it brought requests, complaints, gossip, pressure, or someone else's emotional storm. I thought answering quickly proved I cared. But I eventually understood that instant availability was not the same as love. So I let the phone wait. Not always, and not in true emergencies, but more often than before. I called back when I was steady. I read messages before deciding whether to enter the conversation. I stopped allowing every ringtone to decide my mood. At first, I felt guilty. Then I felt free. The people who truly respected me adjusted. The people who only valued my availability revealed themselves. Peace entered the space between the ring and my response. The seventh habit was writing one honest sentence each day. I did not start a fancy journal. I did not write pages. I simply wrote one sentence that told the truth. Some days it was, "I am tired of being strong." Some days it was, "I miss my younger self." Some days it was, "I am grateful for this quiet morning." Some days it was, "I need to forgive myself." That one sentence became a small window into my soul. Older people often become experts at saying, "I am fine." We say it to doctors, children, neighbors, and ourselves. But the heart needs a place where it does not have to perform. Writing one honest sentence allowed pain to breathe. It also allowed gratitude to appear naturally, not as a command but as a discovery. Over time, I saw patterns. I saw what drained me, what restored me, who gave peace, who stole it, what memories still needed mercy. The notebook became a silent friend that never interrupted, judged, or rushed me. The eighth habit was removing one small thing from my life each week. Not everything at once. Just one thing. An old paper. A broken object. A shirt I never wore. A dish I kept from guilt. A box I had not opened in years. A phone number I no longer needed. A commitment that brought resentment instead of love. At 70, clutter is not only physical. It is emotional. It is old identities, old obligations, old guilt, old expectations, and old versions of ourselves we keep trying to maintain. Each small removal created space. A drawer opened more easily. A room felt lighter. My schedule became less crowded with duties I no longer believed in. My mind began to understand that letting go was not losing life. It was making room for the life still here. The past deserves respect, but it should not be allowed to occupy every chair in the present. This habit taught me that release can be gentle. You do not have to burn your old world down. Sometimes you simply remove one unnecessary weight at a time. The ninth habit was giving kindness without offering myself as a sacrifice. This was difficult because I had confused kindness with availability for most of my life. If someone needed money, I wanted to help. If someone needed listening, I listened until empty. If someone disrespected me, I forgave quickly because I did not want conflict. I thought kindness meant absorbing discomfort so others could remain comfortable. But that kind of kindness had made me tired, resentful, and quietly sad. So I began practicing wiser kindness. I still cared. I still listened. I still gave when my conscience was clear. But I stopped giving from guilt. I stopped helping people avoid the consequences of repeated choices. I stopped saying yes when my body and spirit were already saying no. This changed the quality of my love. It became cleaner. I no longer gave to purchase peace. I gave when giving was free. I learned that kindness without boundaries becomes self-abandonment, but kindness with boundaries becomes strength. The 10th habit was ending each day by naming what did not go wrong. This may sound unusual, but it changed my relationship with gratitude. Many people say, count your blessings, but when you are tired or lonely, that can feel like pressure. So I made it simpler. Before sleep, I asked, what did not go wrong today? The answer was often small. I did not fall. The pain did not worsen. I had enough food. The lights stayed on. A conversation did not become an argument. I saw the sky. I remembered a good memory without crying. I made it through another day. This practice did not deny hardship. It simply reminded me that life is held together by many quiet mercies we overlook because we are waiting for dramatic happiness. After 70, ordinary safety becomes beautiful. A calm evening becomes wealth. A body that still carries you to the bathroom becomes grace. A peaceful meal becomes a blessing. Naming what did not go wrong trained my mind to see protection as well as problems. It helped me sleep with less resentment and more humility. There is another reason these habits mattered. They gave shape to days that had started to blur together. When you no longer have a workplace demanding your hour, children needing school clothes, or a household full of urgent noise, time can become strange. A whole day can pass without asking anything serious from you, and that freedom can feel like emptiness if you do not give it gentle structure. My 10 habits became a frame around the day. They did not imprison me. They protected me from drifting. A framed day is different from a crowded day. I was not trying to become busy again just to prove I still mattered. I was trying to become intentional. There is a great difference between busyness and purpose. Busyness fills time so you do not have to feel. Purpose gives time a direction that respects your soul. My habits were small directions. They told the morning where to begin, the afternoon how to breathe, and the evening how to close without regret. I also learned that consistency is a form of self-trust. Every time I kept a small promise, something inside me became less afraid. I had broken many promises to myself across the years, not because I was weak, but because everyone else seemed more urgent. After 70, I stopped treating my own promises as optional. This quiet loyalty to myself became one of the deepest joys of all. That was when I understood that a peaceful old age is not found by controlling the future, but by becoming faithful to the small sacred actions that keep the present from slipping away unnoticed during my remaining quiet years. These 10 habits made my 70s the best years of my life, not because they made life perfect, but because they returned me to myself. They taught me that peace is not found by controlling everyone, fixing the past, escaping age, or waiting for the world to finally understand me. Peace is built in small daily decisions. The way you rise. The way you drink. The way you walk. The way you order your space. The way you eat. The way you answer. The way you tell yourself the truth. The way you release. The way you love. The way you close the day. And perhaps the most surprising truth is this. Small habits work because they are small enough to repeat. A grand promise can inspire you for one afternoon, then disappear. But a glass of water, a made bed, a 10-minute walk, one honest sentence, one cleared drawer, one delayed call, one peaceful meal, these can be done again and again until they become a new identity. You do not need to become a completely different person overnight. You need to stop abandoning yourself in small ways. If your 70s feel heavy, do not shame yourself. This decade carries real losses. Bodies change. Friends disappear. Family dynamics shift. The world becomes unfamiliar. Some mornings require courage before breakfast. But the existence of pain does not mean the absence of possibility. You may not be able to recover every old strength, but you can build new forms of strength. You may not be able to fill every empty chair, but you can make the chair you sit in more peaceful. You may not be able to make everyone see your worth, but you can stop living as if their blindness is the truth. Here at Stoic Beacon, we believe the later years can become a sacred season if lived consciously. Not loudly. Not perfectly. Not without sorrow. But consciously. You can become more patient, more selective, more grateful, more honest, more peaceful, and more yourself than you were in earlier decades when life was too busy for reflection. Age takes many things, yes. But it can also remove distractions. It can show what matters. It can teach the beauty of enough. So tomorrow morning, do not wait for your whole life to change before changing one small thing. Rise slowly. Drink water before opinions. Walk before worrying. Make the bed. Eat like your life deserves care. Let the phone wait when it is not urgent. Write one honest sentence. Remove one small burden. Be kind without abandoning yourself. And before sleep, name what did not go wrong. These habits may not impress anyone. No one may applaud. Your family may not notice. The world may not care. But your soul will notice. Your nervous system will notice. Your home will notice. Your sleep will notice. The person you are becoming will notice. And one day, you may look back and realize that your 70s became beautiful not because life finally gave you everything you wanted, but because you finally learned how to care for what remained. The best years of life are not always the easiest years. Sometimes they are the years when you stop performing, stop chasing, stop explaining, stop waiting, and begin living with quiet intention. They are the years when small mercies become visible. When a peaceful morning feels richer than applause. When a simple meal feels like dignity. When silence becomes friendly. When boundaries become love. When gratitude becomes honest. When your own company becomes less frightening and more familiar. If you are in your 70s now, or approaching them, do not believe the lie that your best years must be behind you. The best years may not look like youth. They may not be fast, crowded, or impressive. They may be slower, simpler, quieter, and deeper. But depth is not decline. Simplicity is not emptiness. Quiet is not defeat. There is still life here, still meaning, still beauty, still wisdom waiting to be practiced in the ordinary hours. Thank you for spending this time with Stoic Beacon. May your mornings become calmer, your habits gentler, your boundaries stronger, and your heart more awake to the blessings that remain. May you discover that the life you thought was becoming smaller was actually becoming clearer. And may your 70s, through 10 small habits repeated with care, become not a season of fading away, but a season of returning home to yourself.